Today I want to take a look at the science, a scientist, and show you the corruption of a scientist in real time, because what we hear over and over again is the science doesn't lie, and remind people science is not a person, and science is not a deity. Science is a process that is done by people who are scientists. So virologist who told Fauci SARS-CoV-2 potentially engineer just nuked his Twitter account. So let's go through this and you can see a real-time story arc of someone being corrupted by money. So there was this California virologist who told Fauci that COVID looks, quote, potentially engineered and inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory, only to later reverse course and publish a, quote, natural origin paper 8 weeks later, right before receiving a multi-million-dollar NIH grant, and he has now deleted more than 5,000 of his tweets. And you can see here, Zerohedge asks them, can you please explain what inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory or some features look engineered means? And so he blocked them. A scientist being questioned on what he meant when he talked science stuff. I'll just block him. Christian G. Anderson. Now, Christian runs a lab in California, and he wrote this in an email to Fauci that says, it looks unusual, it looks potentially engineered, it doesn't look like stuff we see coming out of nature, and then they got to him. They bought him off. They silenced him. So the day after this Christian Anderson put this out, Fauci emailed one of his deputies and said, we need to speak. Keep your cell phone on. Read this paper as well as the email I forward. You will have tasks today that must be done. You have tasks. What would he be assigning? More scientific research, maybe? So right after one of Fauci's trusted scientific advisors suggests COVID could be man-made, while Fauci and his associates were publicly dismissing the policy as a conspiracy theory, he was sending a research paper concerning gain-of-function research, which is just making less deadly viruses more deadly for weaponization, which Fauci was funding at the Wuhan Institute to one of the researcher's deputies. And now Christian Anderson has deleted more than half his tweets. He deleted all his tweets between March 7th, 2021, just because? That's a lot of tweets, man. And Christian Anderson defended himself, claiming that these old tweets were auto-deleted, which would suggest a rolling automated process, not the sudden disappearance of over 5,000 tweets preceding March 7, 2021. You could see CHT. This is a lie because all tweets preceding March 7th are deleted. This isn't some tool to auto-delete tweets after time elapses. So he's lying. The scientist is lying right here, demonstrably and provably. But why? The deleted tweets come as internet sleuths begin to unravel Anderson's involvement with Fauci and the NIH. Denying the lab leak outright was an actual conspiracy. It was just done to help dunk on cotton. Just like they changed the definition of certain words. It's like when Amy Coney Barrett said she called, I think it was homosexuality, a lifestyle choice, and that was changed in the dictionary real time to call it intolerant, when in fact Ruth Bader Ginsburg had used the identical phrase, and of course it wasn't intolerant when a liberal said it. The institutions have been infiltrated. So radical centrist points out 2 months later he reverses course and publishes his proximal origin, which means from animals, not from a lab, helping shield NIH from potential probes. 5 months after that, he gets $1.88 million in CREID funding, along with, the famous Daszak, who gets $1.54 million more. So what is this CREID? It's the Center for Research in Emerging Infectious Diseases. What they focus on is how disease starts in animals and then comes over to people. And you can see there, they intend to provide approximately $82 million over 5 years to support the project. So they're providing $82 million over 5 years to discover how pathogens emerge in the wildlife and spill over to people. Okay, so they've got the end game in mind. This is what we want you to find. Here's tens of millions of dollars to go find it. This is the way they astroturf the science. You can see it here step by step. You can watch it play out real time. This guy started out by speaking truth. Hey, I think it may have come from a lab. Look at all this. And then he was corrected by the politics and was told, here's millions of dollars. Go discover how it came from nature. You think that climate change doesn't get corrupted in just this same way? Why else would Obama buy a house 6 inches above sea level? And we've seen this. Like, you've seen CNN come out saying now that the fear of COVID is going away, they're going to start pushing the fear of climate change. And you can actually see the news cycle begin to turn and arc towards that new narrative. You've seen Greta Thunberg. She went to tweet out a stock-made tweet. What she actually sent out was what's called a toolkit that explained how she was supposed to pick from one of several tweets, which she would put out, and then celebrities, those owned assets of the deep state, the celebrities were supposed to pick from a series of tweets to show support for Greta's initial tweet, thereby astroturfing the climate message. And the result is the centralized power in the hands of a few. It just happens to work out great that the solution to all our environmental woes is global communism. But you can see Steve Koonin of the Obama Energy Department is shaking up the science. In fact, he's written a book called Unsettled. And, simply speaking, there's the slab ocean model, which basically the ocean in these computer models for climate change they're not actual detailed models of the ocean. They're very simple, like a bathtub. So, the water in Minecraft is a better representation of a real world ocean than what the climate models are using. And then you have the pancake model of the atmosphere. It's not an actual model of the atmosphere. It's just a digital representation and a vast oversimplification. And then, of course, we've seen the study that was Denmark university that was confirmed by Japan. Once you put clouds into these climate models, all evidence of man-made climate change disappears. And they're going to take these simplified models, these vastly oversimplified models of the Earth, and they're going to project them out 100 years and tell us there's a crisis coming? Nobody is dumb enough to believe that. So Dr. Steve Koonin led the American Physical Society in a debate on climate change. And so you can see in this debate, there was 3 climate-supporting scientists and 3 that were questioning some of the science. I thought it was 99% to 1, but apparently there's still debate at the level of the scientific community. And at one point, Koonin, who again worked for Obama, read an extract from the IPCC's 5th assessment report released the previous year, Computer Model Simulated Responses to Forcings, the term used by climate scientists for changes of energy flows in and out of the climate system, such as changes in solar radiation, volcanic eruptions, which have put more CO2 in the atmosphere than man ever did in his entire existence, and changes in concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that can be scaled up and down. This scaling included greenhouse gas forcings. Some forcings in computer models had to be scaled down to match computer simulations to actual climate observations. But when it came to making centennial projections on which the governments rely and drive climate policy, the scaling factors were removed, probably resulting in a 25 to 30% over-prediction of the 2100 warming. And so I know that's kind of a mouthful, but the thing to realize is they're taking and manipulating all these models that are vastly oversimplified, and then they are extrapolating out 100 years. And it's like the butterfly effect, like a small miscalculation at the start leads to a vast error in the future. Think about if you were traveling the ocean in Christopher Columbus days, and you had a compass or a tool that was off by a degree. You might think you were going to North America and you'd end up in South America. I mean, over a long enough distance, these small errors compound, and the fact that it's a vastly simplified from what the Earth actually is. This isn't science. It's computer modeling, it's computer programming, and it's always failed. Look at the housing crash. Lots of computer models there, lots of money on the line, lots of people were wrong. And this climate debate was, Coonan admits, Obama's former energy secretary admits this. I began by believing that we were in a race to save the planet from climate catastrophe. I came away from this workshop not only surprised, but shaken by the realization that climate science was far less mature than I had supposed. His book, Unsettled, which I recommend you read, along with Bjorn Lomborg's False Alarm, that is, if you have any interest in a balanced viewpoint on this issue. Unsettled is an authoritative primer on the science of climate change that lifts the lid on the science and finds plenty that isn't as it should be. As a scientist, writes Coonan, I felt the scientific community was letting the public down by not telling the whole truth plainly. Speak truth or serve evil. So we can see even the true believers are waking up to the reality of how shaky the ground is that this supposed science is built on. You saw Michael Moore's documentary, that Planet of the Humans, which got well over 1 million views on YouTube before they banned it. Why ban it if science is searching and in pursuit of the truth? Because it's politicized, because it goes back to this virologist here that just disappeared his Twitter account. Why? Because he was paid to change his mind, because he was paid to find something else. This is how the science is corrupted. This is how the science is politicized. You can read these articles for yourself, and you can watch it step by step play out just over the past couple of months. You can see a scientist go where the money is. Over the past 8 to 10 weeks, we've literally witnessed the corruption of science in real time.